can have your opinion on that.
There's an issue.
But that's not the major flaw. So I teased it, and I want to make sure I deliver on the tease. The major flaw in this Spider-Man movie, and I thought you were going to say it, and that's what I thought was really interesting when you're saying I saw this before. Because I actually disagree. I don't think we've ever seen a Spider-Man movie with this kind of tone and this kind of difference to what the actual, typical comic book origins of the character are. I think they did do something different and create a different entity that we haven't seen before. However, I've also seen this movie before because it's called Avengers, and it was called Civil War, and it was called Captain America. I didn't need to see another Avengers movie. Essentially, we got a Young Avengers movie, right? I mean, there's
with only one Avenger, though.
With only one Avenger, but you also had the entire, you had Captain America doing his little cameos and stuff like that. I get that he's involved in the world, but to me this never felt like a Spider-Man movie. This felt like an Iron Man training Spider-Man movie. And it does kind of touch upon the whole Uncle Ben thing. I'm glad we don't need to see Uncle Ben get killed by the mugger. We don't need to see Spider-Man guilty about it. But how come when he's arguing with Tony Stark, he doesn't mention, when Tony Stark is basically ripping him a new one for trying to do a good thing with the ferry, and obviously he screwed up. Right there, you just need to have Peter Parker say, you have no idea how much I care about this because my uncle was killed because I did not act. There was no semblance of... That is the core of Spider-Man.
Well, there's no comeback from that, though. The problem is that as stories go, as the arc goes, the main protagonist is naive about something, and then has a come to Jesus moment, and then realizes their mistake, and then comes out of it on the other side.
Sure.
Enlightened from the experience.
Yes.
And of course that the ferry scene was pretty much his come to Jesus moment.
Right.
Right?
So I mean, what even?
Okay,
go
I'll
ahead.
get there. And I won't take long. If the retort to Tony's reprimand,
No.
Hit us with a drop. If the retort to Tony's reprimand was to F you. Right. I know what I'm doing. I'm emotionally tied to this whole thing. And he spewed his pathology all over the place. There's no rebuttal from that because
you're saying Tony Stark can't. What's Tony Stark going to say to that end?
Technically, if Tony reprimands him past that, and then that means that the ultimate lesson of Spider-Man was kind of just glazed over.
Right.
The ultimate lesson of Spider-Man is I should have done something.
Right.
If Tony comes and says, you shouldn't have done this, and he says, I had to do it because I have to do everything, and then Tony gives him another, hits him with another level of responsibility.
Yeah.
It's A, repeating the lesson.
Sure.
But B, also, it kind of negates his uncle, because it means that he didn't learn anything from his uncle, and he's still a goofball, and it just kind of wouldn't have worked. It could have worked, but it would have needed a deeper kind of movie. That kind of movie couldn't have taken us there.
And that's again where I said the vibe was cool and fun and not too deep.
Right.
Was cool, and it created something new, and it washed away the Andrew Garfield. But then it also created a total flaw in the rest of the movie too. It could not get to that deep point that I think it needed to get to.